Well, we appreciate you coming in again, Eric. Now, when it comes to agency in rentals, I mean, you guys have the same responsibilities as well.
Yeah, absolutely, because we're representing mainly the owner, because we're not taking tenants around most of the time. But yeah, we have the same fiduciary responsibility to the owner of the property we're renting out that we do when we represent a seller or buyer.
Right. You know, we represent, my wife does our property management, my personal stuff. We've run into it, and I just wanted to kind of throw this past you, where people decide they're not going to pay, and then they go find another place, and they're really not going to pay that last month. What would you do about that? I mean, obviously, you can always file judgments and things like that, but how do you...
You mean the tenant doesn't pay the last month?
Yeah, so say the tenant didn't pay a month, and then you say, okay, hey, we'll leave. Okay, we'll leave at the end of the month, but we're not going to pay you this month either.
Oh,
so
sure.
now you're kind of out a couple months.
Right. Well, you'd have to take them to court to get that back. Now, we don't run into a lot of that because we mostly have single-family homes and townhomes where, that's going to follow that person. And normally you're going to find that in the background check. So we rarely see and if it is in the background check, we're not going to rent to that person.
What is the best way to, there's a lot of things, a lot of people go on Craigslist out there. Well, how about other ways?
Craigslist is by far the largest one out there. And right now I heard just the other week that we're the second most difficult market in the country to find rental housing. So it's
right now.
Yeah.
Are you finding that too in real life?
Okay. Absolutely. There's a lot more tenants than there are houses out there.
Huh. Do you think that's interesting? Do you think that's kind of more on maybe the foreclosure part of it, or people just choosing, hey, we're just not going to buy yet?
Well, I think, and this is just, of course, my opinion, but I've seen a lot of my clients that, if we sit down, we do a market analysis, for an example, to see if we can sell the property. If it's a matter of it's the property that they've lived in, or if it's a property they've inherited, or if it's an investment property, or, a flip or whatever. And then we just look at, hey, can we sell this in today's market? And a lot of people, I think where they're coming from is that if they can't sell, they actually become a landlord. And that's where a lot of people are scared of that. But instead of taking that equity bath and losing $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 in some cases, they'd rather inconvenience themselves and actually turn it into a rental property, which in today's money is, they make great cash flow from what I've understood.
Well, yeah, especially if you bought at the height of the market, you still will probably cash flow the way it's going right now. Mm-hmm. Everyone's different, and we can certainly do a free market analysis.
I just had a perfect
that.
example. I just had
I was going to say, if you buy something now, it's going to cash flow.
Oh, yeah. You buy it now and you use today's interest rates. And that's I was just going to say that we had last week, actually, had a client that a brother and a sister inherited a property. Their father passed away, and they have two properties. And they were talking about that. And we talked about, hey, can we make these properties cash flow to keep them, or do we want to sell them? And two of the properties, both of them under equity, the negative equity, and they literally have a pretty good shot at renting them and making a nice cash flow.